something really good, a hot topic in the news this week. He's been charged with crime. This is a show where I try to educate real stories. Welcome to Truth and Justice with Vivian King, where we try to educate you about the criminal justice system. I'm excited to share part 2 of Kyle Mathews' story. But first, let me introduce my faithful co-host, Danny Sneed.
How you doing, Vivian? I'm excited to be here.
I know.
And it ain't cause I had an energy drink before I got here, but it may have a little part to play to it. But happy Wednesday. I'm glad to see you again, Kyle.
Thank you both for having me.
I'm just waiting to hear
waiting to hear. So if you remember Kyle's story from last week, and if you go to YouTube, you can see it. It starts off saying Kyle's story. We filmed it May 3rd. 2023, and we said that was part 1. So now we're going to do part 2. Kyle has led a very interesting life, and he's a good storyteller. So we didn't get to the real good parts. And I usually try to see what happened in a child's life or a young person's life to lead them to a life of crime. We tell of crime, but we also tell of redemption. So don't think we're trying to perpetuate crime or criminal activity. That's not our purpose here. Our purpose is to educate you through stories. We can talk about the criminal justice system, what went wrong, why did it happen this way, anything that I can share with you with my 30 years experience in the criminal justice system as a lawyer and prosecutor and defense attorney.
Can I add something to what you just said?
Of course you can.
So one of the things we talk about, because I share my story a lot, is I remind people, even though I get excited when I'm telling it, I'm not glorifying it. And that, like Kyle, I want to make it very clear that when we tell these stories, and this is my period telling the story of what happened, but the gist is what happened, how what happened got better. And so when we're telling the story and we get caught up in it and emotions, we're not glorifying.
Right.
We're here because we want society to realize that what we did, we are holding ourselves accountable. There were real people affected that still may be affected to this day from the trauma that I caused in some of these things. The problem what I had is going into the prison system, becoming a victim and not the offender of what I did. Oh, why they got me locked up? They got me away from my family. Not realizing that when I'm committing these atrocities against society, that some of these things that I'm doing to people, they still may dream about. They still may be receiving therapy for that. Right. So I wanted you to put that disclaimer out there to the audience. When you're listening, right. Me and Kyle both agree, and we talk about this off camera. We hold ourselves accountable, and hopefully this is a way to make amends by sharing that story, and I digress.
Right. We want to share these stories for parents, teachers, young people who want to lead a life of crime that looks good. We don't want you to give up your 10, 20, 30 years of your youth because you killed somebody or you robbed somebody when you could have been making money, and you're just going to sit there and, bullcorn your life away. We want you to be productive, find meaning in your life. But in the meantime, we're going to share stories of people who've been there, done that, and can write the book. Okay? And so we're going to go right into Kyle, and we're going to start at 1992 when you graduated from high school, because many of our people are not high school graduates. So I'm excited to say that, Kyle's mom was a teacher, and he was smart enough and interested enough in school to graduate, but then he just had that little other vibe going on with him that led him to a life of crime until he went to prison. So, Kyle, tell us about robbing banks, because, we don't get to talk to many bank robbers. So, and I don't mean to laugh about it, but I mean, bank robbery is on TV a lot. You see it a lot, but we don't talk to many people that have done bank robberies. We've talked to jackers, robbers, but not bank robberies. That's bold.
It is.
I mean, robbing a bank is a bold move.
It's dangerous.
It's a dangerous move.
It's one I contemplated, and then that quiet inner voice said, you're not ready.
You're not ready for that.
You are not him.
You are not him. Because, I mean, that's a clear fire way of getting shot.
You better stick to the 7-Elevens because you are not him.
Right. So I know you were young, probably 19 or 20, but what made you bold enough to think you and your little group of guys could rob a bank?
More than one.
More than one. Multiple banks. I mean, what made you that bold?
It's like anything in life. When you get away with it, you feel like you can get away with it some more.
Yeah, but you started it. I mean, what made you start it? That's the problem. I mean,
Well,
most people not going to start robbing no banks
No.
at 18 or 19.
I had been robbing since I was 15 or 16, so it was just a progression.
Okay.
So some people stay in that lane, other people upgrade.
You graduated.
Right.
But what
So-
about the fear of getting shot? Was it because of your youthfulness that you didn't think you'd get shot or killed? Or I mean, what about the fear factor? Like, you know, I don't understand this, but I know I've had a lot of clients that jack taco trucks of people they feel like have money and they deserve it more than the other person. But I don't often, and they feel like they can overpower them quickly. But you know, when you go in a bank, I mean, it's people everywhere. You know, it's lights, cameras, action. It's usually security there. So I mean, that's still a bold move.
It is, but
Fear. I want to talk about fear.
okay, so you become numb
Okay.
after a while. The first time anything doing wrong, you're scared. So some people get caught the first time, other people don't. So after getting away for so long, it becomes not fearful anymore.
Okay.
It's just something to do.
Okay.
So you plot out the crime that's going to be committed. This is how it's going to go, ABC, and go do it. So the fear is replaced gradually by apprehension and then not caring.
Mm-hmm.
So the consequences were always there. You know, the probability of getting caught is always going to be there no matter what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
You just don't want it to happen then.
Mm-hmm.
So
All right, so tell us about the one where you got caught. Let's get into the big one in 1994. I know you'd already robbed, you and your group had robbed, a few banks at that time. Successfully robbed a few banks and got big sums of money. Tell me about this one, because that one was real intriguing. Because, I mean, you look so good, but, you know, I was shocked last week when I heard that you actually got shot in the face. And, you know, your face is pretty, your teeth are pretty,
Thank
so, you know, you wouldn't have thought you'd been shot in the
His
face.
face not pretty.
Well, I'm just saying, consider the fact he'd been shot in the face.
Oh, okay, I guess.
I mean, he was laying down and he got shot in the mouth. I mean, he got shot in the mouth.
I like Kyle, but he ain't pretty. Go
No,
ahead.
I'm just
thank
saying.
you, man. I appreciate that. Yeah.
Okay, I don't.
We
want
go
y'all-
with handsome.
I don't want y'all calling. I don't want y'all calling each other pretty. But too much, too good, too good. I mean, you know, I got it, but I can say that because I'm a woman.
Okay, then.
But anyway, but I mean, you think about the way you described it so vividly last time, and I want us to back up. But you saying you're on the ground getting shot in the face. I mean, I can just see your face coming off, or just horribleness, and your teeth getting shot out or whatever. So let's talk about what led up to that. Let's talk about this bank robbery. I remember you told us last week that it didn't start off good. You had some bad signs. So just start from the beginning.
Okay, I did leave a part out leading to that.
Okay, let's go.
So
Let's go
we'll
with it.
start from there.
We got time today.
All right. We needed a getaway car.
Okay.
So usually that entails carjacking. So we just ride around and try to find a victim. So this particular night, nothing is really shaking. That really should have been warning sign number one. So maybe about, I can't remember what time it was. Maybe around midnight, we were out on Highway 6, and we were passing by, I think it was a Whataburger at McDonald's, one of them, and there was a guy in the drive-thru. So I was driving, so my co-defendant, like, let's get that one. All right, cool, go ahead. So it's crazy to have a casual conversation about these kind of things, but that's what it was. So he hopped out, tried to go take the vehicle.
Was the person in the vehicle?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
In the drive-thru.
Oh, in the drive-thru. Okay.
So instead of getting out of the vehicle, you got a gun in your face, he decided to fight back.
Mm.
So in the course of him fighting back, he took his keys and threw them out the window.
Mm.
He got shot in the face.
Oh, your co-defendant shot him in the face?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Oh,
So
And left him that shot.
well, we had to go then. At that point, we had to go. So
Wow. That's a big piece that you left out last
yeah,
time.
yeah. I was just thinking.
Y'all wasn't playing with those guns, were you? They shooting it. They were shooting it out.
it's not funny.
No, it's not.
But,
It's not funny. It's not funny.
So we leave. We still need a getaway vehicle, so the night's not done.
Wow.
So we rode around Southwest Houston, made our way to Alief, Kirkwood, and West Belford. There was a gas station.
It's amazing you can remember the
Yeah, that's
details
amazing.
like that, man.
Oh, it's seared in. But there was a gas station on that corner, and there was a gentleman out there meandering around. So we jumped out on him, and he knew what it was immediately, so he just,
Take
okay, take it. Come to find out, he was a fireman. We found that out after the fact. But now we got the getaway.
So he's
vehicle.
walking around the parking lot,
I think he was getting some gas.
but he wasn't inside his vehicle.
No, he was outside the vehicle, so.
He just gave you the keys. Just go on.
I'm gonna change my methods of doing stuff.
Ooh-wee. It's scary.
No, don't. People are, we just talked about this, people are armed now.
No, what I'm saying is, it's still though. When I go to the gas station now, I always been a little bit more vigilant.
Oh, yeah, you
but
gotta keep your head on
I
the
gotta
swivel.
up my game just a little bit more now.
You gotta keep your head on the swivel at all times. And so we get the vehicle, we parked it at a hotel, 59 somewhere. So that night, I just didn't rest well. So like I told you last time, I woke up, I had a routine that I normally go through in the morning times. The grape soda and the cigarette. Didn't have either one. Common sense would have said, go take care of the business first and then all this will come. I told my co-defendant, like, hey man, pull over to a store. I was, what do you call it, jonesing for a cigarette.
Right.
So go in there, get the cigarettes. And on the way to the bank, we just got stuck. You think traffic is horrible now. This particular morning, Houston was nowhere near the size then as it is now. But we're stuck in traffic. So we're running late. It's just not good.
What time are you supposed to be there? I'm not
You're supposed to be there.
Say the robbery is.
Supposed to be there
Stop laughing,
when
Daddy.
when the bank opens.
Oh,
I
okay.
see. Oh, you do it when it opens. Okay.
Right.
Before too many people.
Less
come?
people.
Oh, okay.
So I can't remember how long it took to get there, but it took a long time. But this whole time, I just had an uneasy feeling that I never had before. And I've been caught robbing before. But this time was like, it didn't feel right. Something not right. But at this point, you're doing crime for a certain amount of time. You're around people that do it. You just get told and then you internalize it, just push through it. So we got there. I told you when I pulled into the parking lot, I looked over while I'm pulling my mask down. I made eye contact with a gentleman whose wife turned out to be in the bank. So at this point, the green light was on. So there's no turning back.
There's no cell phones during this era, right?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, they
have 'em.
had
They had cell phones.
flip phones.
Oh,
Yeah,
so
but they had cell phones because I had a cell phone starting in '92.
oh,
You had
okay.
the-
And they
You had
weren't
the-
big then. I mean, they were the little flip phones.
Little black.
That was my first phone I got in '92, so they had phones.
Had an orange face.
They had little phones.
I only know that because I had one.
They didn't have the big giant ones. That's the '80s, late '80s, but they had phones.
No, because I'm thinking about the guy in the car, like
I mean, everybody didn't have
Like-
a phone then like they do now.
a guy going in the bank with a mask on, you know. But you said your guys had scanners, and
Yeah.
you knew it took a response time.
But we had a set time to be in there. You're not just in there meandering and
Right,
not
right.
knowing what to do.
So how long were y'all supposed to be in there?
3 minutes.
3 minutes in and out. Okay.
3 minutes. So we dash in, get everybody down, except for I can never pronounce their last names. So the gentleman's wife, who I found out later, went into shock. So
Oh, she's the one that couldn't go down. Yeah. The
Right.
So one of the women was standing there in shock.
I mean, wouldn't you? You got a
Yeah.
gun in your face.
Yeah.
So
She couldn't move.
she couldn't move. So I'm like, ma'am, I need you to lay down, please. And she's shaking like a leaf, and like, I can't. So I had to help her to a chair. Like, look, just stay right there. I didn't have any intentions on hurting or anything like that. I'm just trying to get in, get the money, and get out of here. So, as I stated, however much time passed, the scanner started going crazy, but there was another bank across the street. They said the wrong bank, and my first thought was, this can't be happening at the same time.
Right.
So, yell out to my co-defendant, code name, like, hey, it's time to go. So he was in the boat. And he came out, we took care of business, we came out. So I went out the door first, and I saw our getaway vehicle, which was a Jeep. That's why I hate Jeeps now, Grand Cherokee. The gentleman I told you I made eye contact with ran his van into the side and knocked the motor block loose. I had an impulse, because he was standing there with a crowd of people. I had a moment of impulse. I just wanted to start firing into the crowd. But getting away overcame that thought. I might have been able to get away if I was thinking clearly, because all we had to do was jump the fence to another vehicle. But it didn't happen that way. So now we're scrambling how we get the hell out of here. So for some reason, my co-defendant ran over to the van, like, hey, it's still running. All right, let's go.
Whose van was that?
The gentleman that I pulled up on the side.
Oh, so even though he ran into y'all, he jumped out of the car?
Yeah, he got out. He was standing with the group of people.
So he ran into y'all to stop you and then jumped out?
I mean,
Never thinking that y'all would use his vehicle as a getaway.
So y'all jumped in his vehicle? Wow.
a van. So pull it into traffic. I saw a cruiser coming. He had to turn left, but there were cars in front of him. So I'm thinking, oh yeah, we got him. If they don't move, I can bend the corner. He's not gonna catch up. So as I was pulling out, he was hitting the lights, he's hitting their loud horn, and but the front car wasn't really paying attention, you could tell. So they were just really, so as I'm pulling out, they finally snapped to and just ran the light. I'm like, ah. So we peel around, get in the apartment complex. So, like I said, we had another vehicle and a driver waiting on us. So as we get closer, I'm looking in the rear view. He's getting closer. I don't think we can time to get out and get in and get away all in one motion. So I just made a decision then, if we stop, we really gonna get caught. Somebody else gonna get tied up too. So I just sped by. So during this point, we're leaving the apartment complex, and this is totally my fault. So my co-defendant, hey, just let off a few shots in the air, get him to slow down. While I'm maneuvering through traffic, I glance over. Man is hanging out the window shooting at the police car. I'm like, well, we're in it now.
Oh, yeah.
So we're tearing down the streets. We're in a school zone. I do remember there was a school right there. So he's shooting, they're shooting. I'm hearing everything on the scanner. Because once the shots fired call goes out, it's wartime. So we're weaving in and out of traffic, shooting at each other. And it's not nothing I'd wish on anybody, but you can hear the bullets flying by your head. So make it to the Beltway. And I turn onto the feeder. Now, this is in 94, the Beltway is not fully completed, so traffic's kind of backed up right there too. So I'm weaving in and out of traffic because I already knew just through previous experience and just being around, once the helicopter comes, we really not going anywhere. So I wound up getting on the Beltway. Some cruisers got on, so they try to box you in. They'll put two on the side, one in front, one in the rear. I wasn't letting them do that. So we're in and out, in and out. So bullets are flying both directions. So we went a little ways, I exited, got in the U-turn and came back down the feeder. So I believe it's Hammerly in the Beltway, I think. There was a truck with a tanker on it, in the intersection. If it would have stayed where it was, I knew I could have shook him then, because they did have traffic stopped right there. The police did. So if I could have got around and back in, I'd have got him.
In your mind, you'd have got him.
Well,
Right.
the way it was stopped, the next vehicle was going to block. You see, traffic was
But they're
still.
not gonna give up though.
I know, but I can lose. This is
You
the
can lose
part.
the group behind
This is
you,
the part I'm
but it
trying
might
to
be
get
some
away
in front
from.
of you. Right.
This is the part I'm trying to get away from.
Right.
Yeah.
This is what I can see.
Oh, okay.
You see, I can worry about what's coming as it comes, but the immediate issue is right here on my tail.
I got you.
So, but like I say, traffic was still going, and the tanker was slowing down. So it didn't stop where I needed it to, so I just wound up going through, and so did the police. So now they're really dumping. So I'm literally driving like this. Co-defendant, he's ducking, shooting, ducking, shooting. So somewhere along the way, he got shot. They pulled up on the side and they shot in the vehicle. So he got shot in the arm, went through his arm, and his ribs stopped it from going in him. But it stunned him to the point to where he kind of just like sat back. So I looked over, I'm like, hey. So he wasn't saying anything, he's just sitting there. So I'm trying to concentrate on the road, get his attention. So I finally just reached over and boom, I hit him in the chest. And he's like, I'm like, what's up? He like, I'm hit. He felt it more on his rib
Where it
than
hurt
his
him.
arm. So a little more time goes by, back tire got shot out. So I can hear the rim on the concrete, and we're just going slower and slower. So my first initial thought, just get out and make a break for it.
You're not
But
trying to go to
He
jail
ain't
at
trying to
all,
go to jail,
man.
No.
By no means necessary.
No. But at the same time, I didn't want to leave him either.
Right.
So as we're slowing down, I told him, I'm like, bro, we caught. He's like, don't stop. We're just going slower and slower. He's not really fully engaged.
Wow.
I said, man, we're caught. The tire is gone.
You shot.
And that was self-explanatory, you know. But it was just like, don't stop. I'm like, all right. So I just let the van just drift to a stop. Okay, I didn't stop. The van stopped itself. So police get out, circle the van. And one thing I know about Texas, they could have killed us.
They could've
Absolutely.
killed- they
Because
could've
at that
killed
point, they're
they
already
could legally
using.
killed y'all. Y'all
Right.
was shooting at them. They could have definitely
Yeah,
killed
they could have just got up
Or dumping.
and
They just could have killed y'all.
right.
Y'all got guns. In those days, there's nothing being video, and you shooting at them, and you got guns. So they could have come out and shot you. You know, they could have. You were lucky
But
they didn't.
by this time, the
Helicopter.
news and the police helicopters
news.
were overhead, so they would have saw it. But
Who
we
cares?
know how that works.
Right.
So
right.
anything. So they're surrounding us. They got guns on us. So before they even got to me, I was already like this in the driver's seat. So the officer was like, get out of the car, get out of the car. So I just looked at him like I'm looking at you. He's like, you understand what I'm saying? Get out of the car. I said, open the door. So that kind of threw him off for a second. He's like, what? I told him, man, I'm not reaching for the door. I'm not going to do it. You know, however we got to work this out, I'm not reaching. I'm leaving my hands right here where you can see them. I said, the pistol I had is right there next to me. So you open the door, I'm going to fall out, and you do what you need to do. So he's standing there. You make a false move, I'm going to shoot you, I'm going to kill you. Look, open the door, man. Just open the door. So he opened the door, and I just fell out. So they got my co-defendant out, and they handled him really, really rough.
So when you say that, be more specific. When you say they handling him rough, what is going on?
When they got him down, they had his arm, you know, when they're...
That arm that had been
well,
shot.
you know, but to the viewers, when they're attempting to handcuff you, there's techniques that they use to get your arm restrained. So when they grabbed his arm, he was hollering, and it seemed like once they keyed in on there's a wound, it became let's turn, let's turn, let's turn. So he was screaming. Then they started stomping on him. And I can see all this 'cause I'm looking under the van to the other side.
You see these boots going boop,
Yeah.
boop, 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 boop.
So I'm like, oh my
They gonna
goodness.
kill him, yeah.
I'm thinking, oh, this is
next.
coming.
Yeah, I'm next.
So I was laying there. So they finally handcuffed him. So somebody, like I said in the previous episode, I'm not gonna say his name. Someone I wound up putting my hands behind my back. I got a handcuff on my right wrist. My left arm never got cuffed. So I don't know how much time passed, and the way I was laying, the sun was behind me. So I heard someone walking up, because I do remember he had on ropers. He walked up, I looked back, he said, I'm gonna kill you.
N-word?
N-word.
N-word. So I heard the gun go off. Everybody heard the gun go off. So I got shot in the jaw. So it went through my jaw, went through my tongue, came out my mouth. So I didn't feel it shatter my jaw or my teeth. I felt it go through my tongue. So by me not feeling any of
So it went
this,
through your cheek, your tongue, and it did it come and it
this
came
is
out.
this is the trajectory here to here,
Oh, that way. Okay.
right there. So I thought,
It came out your cheek.
no, it came out the front of my mouth.
Oh, your lips.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
My beard is covering the scars.
Okay.
But I thought I just bit my tongue really hard. So at this time now I got handcuffed, but the way I'm laying face down. So while I'm laying there, I'm just noticing a pool of blood getting bigger and bigger. So now I'm thinking to myself, man,
Whose blood is that?
well, I knew it was mine, but this is more than
You couldn't
me
feel that
biting
your
my
teeth were shot
tongue.
out?
Mm-mm. So I laid there. They came and rolled me over. Then one of them just made a crazy comment. Hey, he's shot. So when they rolled me over, all my bone and tooth fragment and blood went into my lungs. So now I'm having real problems. So they called the EMTs. They load us up, which was an ordeal in and of itself. Now, mind you, most people would have passed out from this. I never lost consciousness, and I do remember what happened. So they load us up in the ambulance. They have to clear my lungs quickly or I'm gonna drown. So they put the respirator, they have to put the tube down your throat, but the way they cleared your lungs with the apparatus, they have to put it in and they have to like pull to clear it. So I remember the EMT, he was cussing. You better not get any blood on me. You better not get any blood on me. I'm just laying there. So as soon as he pulled it, blood went all over him. Boom. So he got mad. He started hitting my chest. Co-defendant, he's like, hey, stop. So somewhere along the way, because I was laying kind of like this on the stretcher, my hand came down, and the officer that was riding with us put his boot on my hand, the heel, and was kind of grinding it. I felt that. So I couldn't snatch my hand away.
Right.
So he's just grinding. So now I'm getting my hand grinding. I'm not a victim, people. Getting my hand grinding on. I got the paramedic beating on my chest. My co-defendant's hollering and screaming. It's just a
chaos.
a chaos back there in the back of this ambulance. So when we got to Ben Taub, I don't know how long that ride was. They took me out, and I remember a nurse. She just sensed something was wrong. She's like, hey, whatever y'all are doing, we'll take it from here. So they take me in. She was trying to talk to me. So she kept asking me, do you need me to call someone? Now I can figure out I can't talk. So she's like, I'm gonna get you something to write with. So she got me a pen and a pad. And I wrote mom on there. For some reason we all.
Don't call mama now.
Let me get my tissue out
Right.
here. This part I
You've been
get my
acting a
tissue.
fool. You've been acting a fool. And not doing anything mama said do, but now I'm going to call mama.
When I was in the back room, I said, I'm going to give me some tissue cord. I got a feeling it's going to be a part they're going to get really, really emotional. He done brought up mama. Go ahead.
Call mama.
He done brought up mama.
Got to call mama.
I wrote mom. She's like, write the phone number down. I wrote the phone number down. And she's like, how much pain are you in? So I wrote 10 on there.
The nurse? This is the nurse?
This is the nurse. So she got that, left. Then the doctors come in. They told me we got to get a CAT scan of your head because, any head wound, they don't know.
What's what?
So now I'm still coughing up blood and bone, basically.
But have they stopped the bleeding in your face, or is it just still blood going everywhere?
They put like a piece of gauze over my mouth to slow it down. That's not helping because everything is going back down. So if you've ever been in a CAT scan tube, that's not roomy. So now you're getting shoved in here, shot, and I don't know how long that took, but they like, don't move, and really?
Can't move.
So I can't, if I could cuss, I would cuss at this point, like.
Right.
So get the CAT scan. So when they brought me out of the tube, they asked again how much pain you're in. I wrote 10. So they gave me morphine. Usually they ask, are you allergic to anything? I'm allergic to morphine.
Ugh, me too.
Oh my God.
So
now you itching and going crazy.
I swell.
Ooh.
So immediately blew up like a balloon. So they're like, he's allergic. So whatever they gave me.
The anti-allergic medicine.
Got that under control. So, but that knocked me out. So this is on the 27th October. Sometime on the late 28th, early 29th, I woke up to some detectives. They'll read you your Miranda rights, but you're still not supposed to ask for a statement, I think.
No, they can read your Miranda's rights. They can ask you for a statement, but you have a constitutional right not to talk if you don't want to and ask for a lawyer. But they can ask you.
Okay.
At any time, as long as they read you your Miranda rights, they can ask you.
Okay. So they did that. Now my jaw was wired shut, and I'm basically working with half a tongue, so I can't talk anyway. So they're asking 1,000 questions. I'm just looking at them. I'm still woozy from the painkillers. So I was just basically looking at them while they're asking all these questions they're not getting answers to. So they're reading off what we're going to be charged with, and another wicked moment. They're like, that guy it was a Whataburger. Gentleman at the Whataburger that you all shot, the man literally said, I hope he dies so we can give you a death penalty.
Damn.
I'm like, all right, I can't worry about that right now. So they couldn't get anything literally out of me. I wasn't going to write anything. I wasn't going to do anything. So some time passed. They moved me to a room. They had my leg handcuffed to the bed. So that's when my mother came to visit.
Let me get my tissue.
And just the sadness she had on her face.
Good.
So the first thing she said before the nurse called her, she saw on the news when she got home from work what happened. She said, I couldn't see clearly, but I knew that was you.
How'd you know?
Just mother's instinct.
Okay.
Because, they didn't have a close-up. They didn't have our names yet. She just said that when I saw
The person
you laying on the ground,
I knew that
was you. So at this point, I could talk like this for a little bit, but I did more listening than anything. So also at this time, I was doing other things criminally, and she found a lot of money and she found some guns. So I threw the guns away. Okay. Now, before I could ask, where is the money?
You're going to have to find your lawyer with that.
I got rid of the money. What? because she thought they were going to come turn the house upside down.
Right.
So she didn't want
She didn't
them
want
to
do
find
that.
anything.
Right.
That was a lot of money. I'm like,
Oh well.
that's gone. There's nothing to really argue, you know. So some days passed. So they packed me up, told me like, okay, you're going to jail. You'll be in hospital ward in jail. So when I got the booking, I had to fight
Who'd you have a fight with?
the police.
Oh, the police. Okay.
Because, and it happens now, you do something to them, they want their lick back.
Mm-hmm.
So,
You all wired up and they still gonna beat you up.
right. So I haven't eaten. I'm just getting the liquid through my nose, through the tube to my nose to my stomach. So I'm not as strong as,
Yeah, you're weak.
right. So it wasn't much. All I was trying to do was keep them from hitting me in my face. So after that, went through, got photographed, fingerprinted, things like that. So I wasn't hard to identify because I was already in their system.
Mm-hmm.
So went through that, sat in the booking for I don't know how long because you lose track of time down there. You know, there's no windows or anything, so
Right.
you don't know what time it is. Really, I just want y'all to bring my medicine. Just bring the meds and we'll move it forward. So get sent up to the hospital wing in Harris County Jail. Stayed there, let me see, this is early November. I stayed there till about the 1st of December when they felt like I was healed up enough. Well, when they unwired my jaw, I was healed up enough to go up on the floors, which is fine. But in between that, we went to court a couple times for discovery. Went to discovery, and we found out that things didn't quite add up as far as the robbery was concerned. So the first point of contention was the way we're masked, you know, gloves and everything else. My lawyer had the wherewithal because
Did you have a court-appointed lawyer or you hire one?
I had a court appointed at this. No, I didn't. During this time it was a court appointed, but I had to hire one when I realized the gravity of the situation.
Mm-hmm.
But the court appointed attorney had the wherewithal, for some reason, to ask one of the witnesses, hey, what race was the suspects? I got identified as being white because the way I can talk proper when I need to or when I want to.
Talk proper now.
So
they didn't see you.
they couldn't identify me just by, hey, it was that black dude. So one of them said, well, it was a white guy. So that was a point of contention that maybe, just maybe, even though we got caught dead to rights,
Had an issue. That was an issue.
it was an issue.
That's an issue.
So,
Because you were already in trouble for shooting at the cops, so that's a different offense. So you shooting at the cops, that's ag assault on a peace officer, that's another offense. But on the robbery, if they identified you as a white boy, that's a problem.
I wish it was aggravated assault on a police officer.
They did
It's
attempted murder.
capital murder.
Attempted capital murder, yeah, they can do
Was way more
that. They
pressing.
can do attempted capital
Because
murder.
somebody shot in the face probably in critical condition.
No, that was a different charge.
That's a
that
different
was
charge.
that
No,
was
it's
another.
the shootout with the police.
The
that
shootout
charged
with the police was attempted capital murder.
murder.
Now with the gentleman,
Capital murder, just because it's a police officer, is capital murder.
Oh,
You're
okay.
trying to shoot a
But-
capital murder.
But remember, the gentleman at
Right,
Whataburger,
Whataburger got
the
shot.
robbery with the assault, they could have left that at aggravated assault
Right,
with a
right.
deadly weapon.
Right.
They upgraded that charge to attempted capital murder, and he was hanging on. You know, I wouldn't be here right now if he would have passed away. I'd either been on death row, executed, or had a life sentence, still working towards parole, because that time you could parole on a life sentence. So fortunately, he pulled
Lived.
through.
Thank God.
So that charge is still on my record. So the jail experience is the jail experience. You're going to go in there, you're going to see guys you know, you're going to see old friends, whatever, you're going to fight.
Say old friends. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's.
I know.
You live,
People you went to high school with, yeah.
I know.
well, went to high school with or just met in the streets.
Mm-hmm.
So it's almost like a reunion.
Right, right. I used to hear that.
So, but the
But you was
tank.
having some fights too, though.
Oh, definitely.
Even though your face was all messed up.
No, they don't care. The tank we were in was like a high-profile tank. So everybody who had a case that would just continually ran in the news was in there.
Some of Vivian's former clients.
Probably.
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably.
So we were in 5B1. So back then,
Well, he remembers everything, doesn't it?
No, I'm amazed at his
The
detailed
1995, he
memory.
numbered, I was in 5B1.
You know, do I think I can remember what tank I was in or any jail I
Because
was
you
in?
were on dope. He wasn't on dope. He did this in his
wow.
This
It's not
crazy.
about me.
He
It's
did
not
it.
about
He
me.
did it in the right manner.
It's
I
about
think
substance
that. I
abuse
think that's the difference. And he's, you know, he was smart. He was trained by a teacher. I think, and he wasn't on dope. I think dope has a lot to do with it. Because a lot of my clients didn't remember things, so they were high when they did it. That changes things.
I digress. Go
I
ahead.
drink. Sometimes I don't remember things. Will that make you feel better? Will that make you feel better, Danny? Because you can't remember.
It's not about me. It's
Oh,
about
it's not
Kyle.
about you? Oh.
It's about Kyle.
All right,
It's
all
not
right.
about me.
He remembers the details in, now this is January, February 1995, and he still remembers he was in 5B1 and what
right.
happened.
Well, let me add some context to that. Harris County back then had floors that were more violent than others.
Because y'all, all the high profile people are the violent people.
Violent crimes, yeah.
Violent crimes, yeah.
So 5th floor,
That used to be the 5th and the 7th floor. All my
Fifth.
clients would be on the 5th.
5, 7, and 10.
Yeah, they would be on 5 and 7. All
So,
mine were on
rock and
5
roll.
and 7.
The time before I went to jail,
701 San Jacinto.
I went to the 10th floor, and a song was actually made about the tank I was in there, which was 10B3. A local group made a song about that particular tank.
Wow.
It's wild in there. So, but the 5th floor was just another animal in and of it to itself.
A lot of mine would be on 7. But I remember I had them on 5, 7, and 10. Don't you know you used to go visit them for me?
Yeah, but I wasn't.
You don't remember what
paying
floor?
I wasn't paying attention to the details there because I was able to go in, visit, and come back out.
Come back out. You wasn't
I didn't-
the defendant then. You were.
Do you know how
paralegal.
amazing it was to be in an attorney booth working for you, going in and talking to her clients were all capital murder or clients, and they were young, and but that's a different story
That's a
for a different
story.
show.
That's a
Go
different
ahead.
story. Keep on, because you have 15 minutes and you know you're long-winded.
Right, okay. So I'm progressing through jail, working towards maybe a trial or whatever. One of the hang-ups in court is y'all need to figure out what race, y'all's
Up,
witness
right.
said there was a white man in there.
Right.
Where is he?
Where?
So we had a lot of court appearances to the point to where we got to go in the judges' chambers a few times.
Okay.
Jan Crocker's court 184.
Okay. Boy, this man remembers everything.
The judge name.
And that's right. At 184 was Jan Crocker.
So
She had just gotten elected in 1995. Well, she got elected in November of 94.
November
She
94.
took the bench in 95, January 95. Look, he
So-
knows that too.
Well, I know that because she got assigned a lot of cases. I was either on the floor or in the tank with a lot of guys that were in that court. So she was trying to make a name for herself, and she was throwing the book at people.
Oh yeah, she did it her whole career.
Right. So I was in the tank with a gentleman, not gonna say his name. He had 27 counts of aggravated sexual assault.
Oh my Lord. He was a
Yeah,
horrible
that's- I'm
rapist.
like-
A predator
He's a predator.
7 counts? Oh my
So-
Lord.
that they knew of.
Yeah, that they knew of. So we know the intimate details because everybody's passing their indictments around.
Right.
Because some people come to jail lying and say they had a robbery, but they really had a sexual assault case.
Yeah, they don't want to say
So
that.
they won't see
Everybody had to show receipts.
right, had to show receipts. So I knew of him. He was in the same court. So he pled guilty. And this is where my whole animus towards her came from. She let him plead guilty for 40 years. So he came back. He was a happy man.
40 aggravated years.
Right.
Which is, in that time, you had to do a third of that, right, to make
Half.
parole?
No, half.
Half.
It was half. It was half by
The law
95.
changed in 1993.
Right,
Yeah,
so,
it was half.
okay.
Yeah, I started in 92 and it changed right after
So
I
it
started.
just had
In
changed.
92, when I started, if you just got a regular life sentence, you got up for parole in 15 years.
Right.
And people got out in 15 and 16
Absolutely.
years.
Mm-hmm.
Because the jails were real crowded there with crack. You know, sending everybody to jail for crack rocks.
Overcrowding.
So it got overcrowded.
Right.
It's 94, if I recall, is when they created the state jail system so that they could get some of those out. And that's when, if you got a sentence, a serious sentence like in 95, 96, you did a lot of that time.
And I was living my worst life in TDC during this era.
Oh yeah, okay. All right, 97 counts, and he pled to 40 years, okay.
All right, so we were in the chambers one day, and the judge is talking to us. This is what's going to happen to you guys. So she said, Mr. Mathews, I'm going to make sure you get a life sentence. I said, okay, why? You know what you did? You assaulted police officers. You assaulted people in the public. I said, ma'am, and I said his name. You just let this man plead to 40 years. This man was raping women. Who's the bigger monster, me or him? So that kind of, she
Threw her
was
back.
taken aback.
Right.
That's not the point. I said that is the point. Who's the bigger threat to the public, me or him? Now, I'm not saying,
You're right, yeah.
you know, but let's be realistic here. Well, you're on probation. You have these additional charges. You don't get the life sentence. Due to the way Texas laws are structured and were structured back then, I would have been better off taking a life sentence on my probation violation. That was under the 1/4 law, the law she's speaking of.
Right.
15 years,
Right, because you had gotten put on probation probably in 92
93.
or 93. But those things,
Right before the law
that
changed.
tough things happened in 94.
Right.
Things were changing in 93, but it was 94, because I started in 92. So I was in the DA's office from 92 to March of 95. And so I watched the transition.
Okay. So, for the sake of time, they're still investigating. They're trying to put things together. The FBI is involved, everything. So, maybe in March of 1995, they came with a contract. It's like, you testify against such and such, such and such, such and such, we'll let you go home. I'm like, yeah, that's not, I'm like, So my mother was there, my mother, my lawyer. So they're explaining it, I'm reading it. I just couldn't bring myself to do that. So told him, nah, I can't do that. And, you know, my mother wasn't mad at me or anything because she understood.
She understood what happened.
So we had another court hearing one time. Everybody's stories changed all of a sudden. And my co-defendant wasn't happy about that. So he turned the table over. So there's a melee.
He like
He literally turned
he went crazy in
turned
court.
the table. Right. 'Cause he was like, he kept saying, they're lying, they're lying. He was trying to tell his lawyer they're
Was
lying.
it a trial or what?
No, it was just a hearing.
Okay.
There's
But
more
they're
than two
introducing-
people? It's you, your co-defendant, who else?
Me and him. But there was a group
Group of robbers, of bank robbers.
Did they get them? They arrested them too?
down the
They're trying
road.
to.
Down the road, they're trying
So
to put
they're
two and
doing
two
a
together.
contract with him to try to help him fill in the blanks.
Right.
When you deal with, especially when you deal with the feds and the FBI was involved, you don't go to trial with the feds without co-conspirators. It's always be 3, 4, 5 people, defendants at the same time, and the first one that snitches gets the best deal. So they always, when the feds are involved, they want somebody to help. So it won't just be circumstantial and ID.
Collaboration.
Well, you got somebody, you're going to have to corroborate it. It's the legal term. You're going to have to corroborate it. But if you can get one of the inside people to say, yes, I committed this crime with them. Yes, I helped the planning. Yes, I know about it. You know, somebody from the inside telling the story.
Okay.
Then you know you're going to convict everybody else. That's why the feds have such a high conviction rate, because somebody always gets a deal. The first one, the word is the first one that talks walks. But they don't really walk, but they'll get a lesser deal. I mean, they'll get less time.
So here was the very next quote. We're dismissing the federal charges against you. State can give you way more time. I didn't know that. I found out quickly that they could only max me out in the federal system at 12 as a first-time offender in their system.
Right.
Texas, $5.99 to life.
What kind of attorney did you have not to know all these things that we know in 2023?
You'd be amazed. It gets better. So just fast forward it's to the point to where they came and like, well, they'll let you plead for 85 years. Why would I do that?
Why would
I
you
sign
might as
that?
well go to trial for that.
Right.
Right.
Let's go to trial.
Right. And you know, that's what I used to do with my kids. They're not signing for that a bunch of time. They got to give it to you.
Right.
And then at least you can appeal it and have hope. If you sign for it, you can't appeal because you pled guilty and you waived all your rights.
But my lawyer at this time was able to hammer home some points to where there were chinks in the armor. Yeah, they got us, but you all
Not
trying
dead to right.
trying to max us out for this, that, and the third. That's not going to fly. So my co-defendant went first, and he got sentenced, acted a fool again. So he got sentenced. So
What
his
did he
lawyer,
get?
he got 99 years, but he was out on bond for another case. So they maxed him out. So his lawyer and my lawyer came to the holding tank. It's like, look, they came with a deal for 40. If I had known better, for them to go from 85 to 40, something is really, really wrong here. Let's push for, a little shorter. I knew I was going to prison. You're not getting probation for all this stuff we did. But they just hammered home, and my lawyer just blurted out, you'll be home in 10 or 12 years.
That wasn't true.
No, it wasn't. But he wasn't really familiar that the law had changed.
How lawyer? Okay, well, I'm not going to even argue that case because
Well,
a
because
lawyer.
we have 5 minutes. We'll
yeah,
talk about it.
a lawyer
Right.
don't know
So-
the laws.
Don't know the law because we
Crazy.
go to class when the laws
Insane.
change. The laws are going to change this year. It's every 2 years in Texas, there's a legislative session, and that's when the laws are changed. And they go into effect in either June, September, or January of this year, whatever laws are passed. So I'm just, and they happen every 2 years. So like when they created state jail, that was a legislative year. So I'm just saying that's the way that works.
Right.
And all of us should go to our continuing legal education and know what the new laws are. But a lot of lawyers don't.
So I go in there, 40 years, sign the contracts. Go back to the tank, everybody's like, what happened? Yeah, I got 40 years. They said I'll be home in 10. They're like, man, law changed.
No, you got to do at least 20.
So look,
He had to
what
do
it
at least
said.
half.
The inmates
Knew.
knew the law.
Because their lawyers knew. So a lot of people's lawyers know. It just depends on who you talk to.
They come back
Some
and-
lawyers know. I used to tell mine the law. So I mean, some of it they know that. So yeah, no, it had already changed.
All right. So there's a old song called Highway to Hell. That's what going to TDC is. You know this. So
Been to hell 3 times, but I digress.
get there. Our first stop was the holiday unit where they process you in. So at this point, I know I got to do 20 years. I'm not really trying to, make life easy for anybody. So
How old are you at that time?
just getting ready to turn 21.
So you're 20 years old. Wow.
So we did go to some religious services and whatever school they had. But the group I was in, we were cutting up real bad. So the older gentleman pulled some of us to the side. He's like, listen, man, y'all got too much time to be doing it, stuck in a cell 23 hours a day, either with somebody else or by yourself. Didn't know what close custody and SEG was. So I'm just being for the sake of time. I just filed that away. So I got assigned to the Clemens unit in Brazoria. Its nickname is Burning Hell.
Been there.
Ugh.
That's where I was.
So
93 to 95.
we-
I digress.
We got there right after a young brother got killed. There was a race riot. So the unit was locked down.
What year was that? What year was that?
Rip got killed. This was in 96 now.
Okay.
And you first went down in what year? 95?
Right, went to holiday in 95, stayed to the summer of 96. So the fall of 95 to the summer of 96. So on Clemens, getting acclimated, okay, this is prison. This is a war zone like I've never seen before.
Wow.
So once again, you're seeing a bunch of people that you know, been wondering where they been.
H-Town.
Yeah, here they are. And they got a city divide in TDC. It's Houston, Dallas,
San Antonio.
Austin, whatever. Clicked up. Then you got the gang element. So it's just a mess. So I got stuck in the fields, and I did that for a time until it came time to picking cotton. I wasn't picking cotton. Wasn't going to happen. So I rebelled, They have a little black box smaller than this table that they handcuff you and put you in. You can't sit down. You can literally just squat on either your heels or your toes with your hands behind your back until they take you in. And it's hot in there. They don't give you no water or nothing.
Wow. So you do that all day instead of picking cotton? When other people picking cotton,
It's
you
a
in
form
this
of
little box?
punishment.
It's a form of punishment.
Wow.
It's a deterrent.
So
I think I'd rather pick cotton than be in that box.
Oh, you don't stay in the
you
box but one time. You don't go back the
you
second
don't
day.
go back second day.
'Cause
But
you could die in that box if they're not giving you water and it's hot.
That's the point.
But cotton slices your hands open. If you
They
don't have gloves,
they don't give you gloves?
you got to come up on something from somebody or somewhere. But if you just out there barehanded, cotton literally slices your hands. So what saved me from further field work, I have asthma.
it would
So
make you
medically,
sick.
I couldn't be out there with all that dirt and pollen.
1 minute.
Okay, so
We got 1 minute, man. We
watch
got
this.
1
Watch
minute.
this. Watch this. I'm gonna make it good in 1 minute. At this time, they had a barber school. They had trades over there, so I wanted to go to barber school. They told me, no, you can't. I was like, why? You have a high school diploma. How stupid is that?
It's real stupid.
But the counselor did say they have college. I said, okay, sign me up. So I wound up getting shipped to the Mark Stiles unit in Beaumont. I got my associate's degree in 2003. So from 97 to 2003, I was there. I got my associate degree and was not being a model inmate. So at this point, I found out they have a bachelor's program in TDC. I signed up. So in 2008, I went to Ramsey. Went there and got my bachelor's degree, Bachelor of Science degree in 2011.
Tell us what you do today. Right today, what are you doing?
Right now today, I help returning citizens and citizenry at whole understand finances, mostly their credit. Because as we know, bad credit is a pandemic in this country, especially for people in our community. So I help people to understand that bad credit can hinder you from getting
What's
housing.
the name of your organization?
The K. Mathews Group.
Okay.
So once we get people to understand that sometimes you're not being hired is not necessarily race or any other discriminatory thing, you got a bad credit score. Or if you do have a job, you can be terminated or you won't be able to be promoted. So credit is an all-encompassing aspect of our lives. I'm also a full-time day trader. I had to learn how to do that because I wanted to be self-sustainable. So,
All right, I'm getting the word to wrap up. This is good. You know, we could talk to you, Kyle, on and on and on, because Kyle has stories. 23 years of prison. So we have got to try to get Kyle to come back and tell us about the rough time in prison from 95 to
2018.
2018.
And what he's doing now that he-
1995 to 2018. I think this begs for a part 3. What do you think, audiences? We got to get him away from those day trading. It's closed by the time we start this show. The market is closed. Thank you for watching Truth and Justice with Vivian King. I hope you've learned something, learned what not to do, and learned that there is redemption after you fall. Thank you for watching, and good night.
Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in again. Tonight we have something